Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everyone is having a lovely weekend so far. I hope you're all healthy and strong and happy with life. Today, students, we are looking at IELTS reading. Specifically, we will be looking at strategies for that Band 9 score. We will be looking at a couple of different types of questions, summary completion, and yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given types of questions in today's lesson. And we have some members and students already with us. Welcome, Muhammad Karim. Hi, Aman Villay. Nice to see many students already in the class. Hi, Atharwa, Jainil, and Hasna are members. Good to see so many of you here ready to learn. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, please visit us there, and for the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. In fact, we're using one of our exams from aehelp.com today. And this reading passage is an academic reading passage, but it's great learning material for general IELTS as well. The general IELTS reading is a little bit different than the academic, but it's not completely different. So sections 1 and 2 of the general IELTS have shorter passages, and there's 2 in each. But then section 3 of the general IELTS is very, very similar to the 3 reading passages in academic IELTS. So using academic IELTS materials for reading, if you're a general IELTS student, to get those high band scores like band 8 or band 9, it's a really good idea, okay? Because if you can do a good job on the academic reading materials, you will do a great job on the general IELTS reading materials. Hi, Monir. Love back at you in Bangladesh. Good to see students joining from all around the world. Students, again, on our websites, today you still can use our Black Friday 40% discount code, but it is the last day to use this code. So make sure you get our courses while this discount lasts. The code is BLKF Day, okay? So BLKF Day on our websites will get you a 40% discount, and I will show you what the websites look like. This is our academic IELTS website here. You simply click this red button to join the premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. You click this blue button, use coupon code, and you enter the code BLKF Day. Click continue. It's a different price in different countries depending on your country's economy. So we try to make this available to as many students as possible. Here we have 40% off, $35.40 US. That's in Canada, but in countries like India and other places like Turkey, it's already much, much cheaper. So make sure to use this code today and get access to our premium package. The general IELTS version will have this green background, and again, all you do is click that big red button to join the premium package there, and then you'll have access to all of our exams, all of our videos, interactive course, mobile app, lots more. There's tons there for you. We are world leaders when it comes to IELTS test preparation. Mohammed, it's going fantastic. Thank you for asking. Hi, Sally. Good to see even more students joining in. Welcome, Jyoti. Hi, Arda. All right. Hi, Bakrat. Arda, don't worry about it. As you mentioned, it's worth the cost anyway. It's not extremely expensive either way, but definitely when coupon codes are out. Black Fridays are Black Fridays. Everybody's on the discount bandwagon. So, all right, everyone, let's get into it a little bit. So we've got a couple of classes today, this reading class, and then the reading class will be followed by a speaking part 2 class where everybody will be able to join in on the chat. Okay. Now, if you have any questions, contact me at adrian@aehelp.com if you have questions about IELTS or about English. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we've got no class. And then from December 1st to December 4th, we've got lots of classes for you again. We show those class schedules on our YouTube community posts. So subscribe to our channel so that you can see when we have these live classes. And you can also see the schedule on our Instagram profiles. So that's IELTS_AEhelp. and GIELTS Help, so those Instagram profiles are good to follow. Lots of vocabulary there for you as well, speaking, cue cards, and many more free materials, and it's absolutely free. So it's great. All right, we have apps, Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. You can get our apps from the app stores. All right, everyone. So without further ado, let's get into our reading session for the day. Again, this is coming from our new set of exams that we're publishing, and this is reading passage 3. So technically, reading passage 3 is supposed to be the most challenging passage in the academic IELTS exam. So the way that IELTS works is it's graded. That means that the first part of each section is the easiest, and then it gets more and more difficult. Okay, so what I mean is, like, passage 1 in the academic is supposed to be the easiest, and then passage 2 becomes more difficult, and then passage 3 becomes even more difficult. That's the idea behind it. But it's not always true, and you can start with any passage. You don't have to start with passage 1. You can start with passage 3. Does anybody know when it's good to start with another passage instead of passage 1? So this is kind of it's a trick, if you will. I don't really like to say tricks. I like to use the word strategies, but this is kind of I guess you could say like a trick. So let's discuss this because it could really help you. Okay, so here we go. So my question here is, when is it a good idea to start with passage 2 or 3 instead of passage 1? Okay, so that's my question here. Let's see if anybody knows that or has learned that somewhere else. Okay, welcome to our group of members, Pacham. I see that you just joined up. Send me an email so I can hook you up with those exclusive videos. Yeah, Arda, there are differences between the passages, and I'll explain what that is in just a moment. Let's see if anybody can answer this question. So you should start with passage 1 in most situations, but sometimes you want to start with passage 2 or passage 3. Okay. Anybody know when that is? There's kind of a simple answer to this, if you will, and if you know it, makes sense. If you don't, well, then you can get surprised. So it's a good idea to look at all of the titles of every passage before you start. Yeah, exactly, June. So June says probably when seeing a topic in passage 2 or 3 that we are familiar with. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if passage 2 or passage 3 is a topic that's right up your alley, okay, so if passage 2 or 3 is a topic that is right up your alley, right up your alley is an idiom that means you are familiar with it. Okay, so right up your alley, it means familiar to you. All right. Then start with that one. Okay. So then start with that one, because you'll know the vocabulary. Like, for instance, if it's your university major. So if you have a passage that's about biology and about animals or plants or something like that, and your university major is biology, you do a lot of reading in English about plants and animals, then yeah, start with that one, even if it's passage through 2 or 3, okay? So, for example, a passage about plants, and your university major is focusing on botany. Okay, botany is the study of plants. All right. So if that's the case, then start with that one. Okay. So I'll tell you how they make these reading passages more and more difficult, okay? So again, the tip here is when you start, read all 3 titles, read all 3 of the passage topics, titles, and then start with the one that's easier, okay? So IELTS makes each passage, yeah, let's just do that. So IELTS exam creators make the passages more and more difficult by the type of content and the type and difficulty of questions. Okay, so what I mean by this is passage 1 is usually a physical topic, like an animal or a volcano, okay? And passage 3 is more abstract, okay? Not physical. So that's one way that IELTS exam makers can make passage 3 more challenging than passage 1, right? Talking about physical objects or physical real things, let's say. I don't like the word things, but in this case we can use it. It's things. So talking about buildings or talking about some part of geography like a mountain or a volcano, as I mentioned. That's usually a little bit easier to understand because it's easier for us to visualize it. It's easier for us to talk about it, okay? And then passage 3 is often something that we can't touch, right? Something that we can't actually see, like an idea or a concept, like talking about philosophy. And in today's passage, we are looking at this topic, and this is a passage 3. It's German and English, differences and similarities. And right away, you notice that, oh, okay, this is obviously not a physical object. So talking about a language or differences between languages is certainly more challenging than talking about, let's say, the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, because we've all seen pictures of that. We know some words around that. It's a little bit easier to talk about it, okay? So that's kind of the way that IELTS does that, okay? So Arda, does that make sense now? Like, do you get how that works? And then, of course, the questions will have more paraphrasing. They will be a bit more challenging, maybe more list of headings and true, false, not given, question types that students find a bit more difficult in passage 3, okay? Hasna, passage 2 will be somewhere in between. So Hasna says, what about passage 2? It's kind of somewhere in between. So passage 2 could be a physical topic, maybe a non-physical topic, but it will be somewhere in between. So I talked about a couple of ways that the IELTS examiners make it more challenging, but there are other tools that they use as well to make it challenging. So those were just a couple examples. I don't want to go too far into psychometrics and how that works, but I just want to give you an idea, okay? All right. So Artist says, yeah, that makes sense. Gotcha. All right. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Janil. It's philosophical. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, Muhammad Kareem. Yeah, it might be a more challenging question, like matching headings. Exactly. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, and you can see that. So, students, if you're using, for instance, like the Cambridge IELTS books for past papers, which were actual exams that IELTS conducted in past years, I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. The Cambridge book 1 to 16, I believe now, and each has 4. Then, when you look at the passages there, you'll see this trend. Okay. You'll see this trend. All right, everyone. So. Let's do today's reading, okay? So it's going to be more challenging, but worry not. I'm here with you, and I'm here to help you understand it and learn the strategies to get those higher band scores, okay? So this is a reading class, everybody. So make sure that you read with me, okay? So read. And if you're in a place where you can be a bit loud, read aloud. Okay, aloud reading, it's one word, aloud, it's not aloud. A lot of people confuse that. It's aloud reading. Read aloud. Reading aloud means that you hear yourself read, and when you hear yourself read, you're using what's called multiple sensory integration. It's just a really fancy way to say that you're using multiple parts of your senses. So you're using your muscles of your mouth, your tactile, you're using your eyes, of course, you're reading, you're using your ears because you hear yourself reading. So multiple sensory integration learning is really effective, okay? So you want to use that. It's tiring, it takes a lot of energy. Maybe have some water with you when you're doing a lot of aloud reading. It gives me a chance to sneak in a sip of water myself. So have some water with you, and I highly, highly recommend reading aloud for about 20 minutes per day, each and every day, leading up to your IELTS exam, okay? So use multiple sensory integration learning, okay? Whenever you're possible, all right? Whenever possible. So multiple sensory integration. Read aloud. Okay, so we're going to read, and we're going to answer some questions. Before that, let's take a look at the title. So German and English differences and similarities. Okay, what could that be? So here, what I want to do before I read the passage and the questions is I want to predict this passage. So I want to think a bit critically about it, okay? So I want to ask some questions, and a question that I can ask here, for instance, is what are differences between German and English? Okay, so here I'm just predicting the passage. All right. What do you think, everyone? What are some differences between English and German? Okay. So let's do this nice and fast. In the real IELTS, you're only spending about 1 minute to 2 minutes on this. Okay. At home, you want to maybe do it a bit longer, just so you're training your mind, your thinking to really kind of get good at this type of inferencing. Okay, Janil says some different dialects, but some common words. Okay, keep your thoughts simple, Janil. So some different words. Okay, all right. Atharwa says maybe the alphabet. Yeah, the letters that are used. Sure, that's possible too. Okay, anything else? Okay, accent. Yeah, so the way that words are pronounced. Okay, definitely. All right. What else? Accents and the words. Try to go beyond the immediate. So, you know, accent, words, that comes to mind immediately. But what other parts of language are there? So try to be a little bit more in depth, and that will help you to pick up those critical points for those higher band scores, okay? So Buckrat says pronunciation and writing format is different. Puncham says maybe the intonation's different. Yeah, I think you're kind of, so you're very close to what I'm thinking here, especially Buckrat. Probably the grammar, right? Okay, all right. Let's ask another question. Why are we, why are we discussing the differences between German and English? Okay, so why are we doing that? And this is really important. So today, by doing this passage, we're actually not just learning about IELTS reading, but you're learning about the English language, which is hitting two birds with one stone, right? So we're doing much, much more here as well, okay? So why are we discussing the similarities and differences between German and English? So what's the reason? Why is the author writing 700 words on this discussion? Okay, where does this idea come from? Okay, Jabroni says because of their common origin. Yeah, you're very close, Jabroni. Yeah, Janiel says to learn about the origin. You're actually going to get a little bit even more insight here. Hasna says to know deeply about English and German. I think Jabroni and Janil are a little bit closer. There's an even better answer than common origin. And the answer is English is a Germanic language. Okay? So English is actually a Germanic language, everyone. So English comes from German. Most of the people who inhabited England, that area of Wessex, the Anglo-Saxons, used to be a German tribe. And there was conflict between the tribes in Germany. At that time, I believe it was called Prussia. And there was conflict between the tribes in Prussia. And one tribe made its way all the way across Europe to the island of the United Kingdom, taking with them the Prussian language. And then that Prussian language became English, which of course in Germany became German, right? Then English was influenced by another language. So German was one of the big German is the original root, we could say, of the English language. Bonus question time. What's the other language that makes up most of English? So English is made up mostly of German and one other language. Let's see who knows about. And hey, look, you're all learning English, so it's definitely a good idea to know about this, right? It will help your studies, absolutely. So English is a Germanic language. It's mostly German, but it was transformed in the 1200s by, very good Harwinder, very good Atmal, yeah, French, okay? So modern day English was transformed by French, yeah. So modern day English was transformed by French. Okay, so modern day English is basically Germanic roots with French influence. Okay, so if you can speak French, if you can speak German, you'll be able to learn a lot of English as well very quickly. Okay, all right. So how? By giving examples of words and grammar, right? So my next question would be like, well, how is the author going to do this, right? So how is the author going to do this? By giving examples of words and grammar, maybe, explaining the history. Okay, so you want to predict as much as possible about the passage. And you can do that by looking at the title of the passage again, okay? And you can also do that, of course, by looking at some of the questions, all right? So everyone, again, here we go. Let's read the title, German and English, Differences and Similarities. What are the differences between German and English? Some different words, alphabet, accent, grammar. Similarities, probably the same. Similar words, some similar letters, grammar, expressions. Why are we discussing this? Well, English is a Germanic language, and modern day English was also greatly influenced by French. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the question. So that's our next step. Here we go. Okay, so reading passage 3 has 7 paragraphs. Okay, A to G. Which paragraph contains the following information? Write the correct letter in boxes 27 to 30 on your answer sheet. Okay, so here we have 27 to 30. Okay, matching some paragraphs. Let's do this. So here, all of this information is included somewhere in the passage, so we want to definitely read this, okay? 27, the development of English beyond its language antecedents, okay? If you don't understand the word antecedents, don't worry about it. Okay, 28, an example of English literature being similar to German in the past. 29, a key linguistic distinction in the naming of certain foods. Okay. 30, difficulties in English pronunciation. Make sure you're visualizing. Okay, so foods, for instance. All right, quick question here. Can I skim and scan for the answers? Okay, so can I skim read for the answers to these questions? Okay, this is an important one because I know a lot of students are still hoping to use some good skimming and scanning strategies to answer all the questions. So students, can I skim and scan for these questions? Like, can I skim read the passage and for 27, skim read and find the keyword like development or the keyword antecedents and then answer that one and go like, ooh, okay, picked up the point. Okay, Janelle says no. Mal says nope, absolutely not, no. Okay, all right. I'm looking at the General English Help channel there as well. Good evening back at everyone. I don't see any answers there. Okay. All right, no, why not? So absolutely not. Okay, no. Why not? There's actually 2 answers. Okay, Arda says we don't have enough time. So yeah, that's right, Arda. I think you're thinking what I'm thinking, okay? So yeah, if let's say, for example, that the development of English beyond its language antecedents, let's say that's in paragraph F, that means that you just had to skim read basically the whole passage to maybe figure out that the answer here is paragraph F. That will take a really long time, especially imagine if this one is G. So now you have to read the whole passage or skim read the whole passage again to figure out that the answer to this one is G. That would be horribly frustrating, okay? And oftentimes that's actually what happens because the IELTS examiners don't want you to skim read and don't want you to scam either, but scan. Okay, so that's one reason. The other is paraphrasing, right? So you might not actually see this kind of question in the passage. So you might see something like the evolution of English past its language roots. Okay, so this is a paraphrase. All right, so instead of the word development, I have the word evolution. Instead of the word beyond, I have the word past. Okay. Instead of the word antecedents, I have the word roots. Okay, so these are basically synonyms. So what I'm doing is I'm paraphrasing here, and that's what the examiners do. So if you're looking for the word antecedents because you're scanning for that because you're like, oh, I'm sure they used that word in the passage, but they didn't. It turns out that the examiner or the author chose the word roots instead of antecedents. Now, if you're looking for this word, you're going to get super frustrated because you might skim read the entire passage and not find that word, okay? So skim reading for choice words, again, is not going to be very effective. All right, now guess what? Going back to what I said at the beginning about how the examiners make passage 3 more difficult than passage 1, this is another way that they can do that, okay? They can use more paraphrasing, and they can make it much, much more difficult to skim or scan for answers. So usually, skimming and scanning, especially for passage 3, becomes virtually impossible in the 20-minute time limit, okay? All right, so that's very important. Everybody got that? Okay. All right, so when you're at home, though, you want to do this kind of paraphrasing so that you can see the answers faster while you're reading, okay? All right, okay, everyone, let's get to this because we'll never get to the questions, right? So let's do this now, all right, members? So read with me. Here we go, okay? So an example of English literature being similar to German in the past. A key linguistic distinction in the naming of certain foods. Difficulties in English pronunciation. Okay. All right. Here we have a summary completion using the words A to J below. Don't worry about the words. Just look at the summary and read it. It will help you. So read with me, everyone, okay? 2 languages split in 2 by another. German and English have a common ancestor known as Proto-Germanic. This language was spoken by people in Europe thousands of years ago. Because of this, English and German are considered something languages. However, there are also something differences between the 2 languages despite their common heritage. Though the English of 1500 years ago was similar to German, the French-speaking Norman conquest of Britain in 1066 something the English language. All of a sudden, French words flooded into the country and its people's speech. This French influence is the source of the divergence between words like cow and beef. However, one word that did not follow this trend was something, since its French equivalent looked like a negative-sounding English word. While the French influence on English is clear, most of the common words in English are still Germanic. Many words are even spoken similarly, that is, their something is roughly the same. Word order is one point of difference for German and English. A key aspect of German is that the verb always goes second. Conversely, in English, the verb can go almost something. All right. Then we have some true, false, not given. True, false, not given. Don't read it before the passage. There's no point. You don't know if it's true. You don't know if it's false or if it's given. So there's no point in reading those. You can solve those best at the end. All right, everyone, so here we go. We're going to read. Follow with me. So just kind of go with me, read aloud. We're going to get through this passage and then get to the questions. You'll see this kind of strategy that I'm using while I read, okay? So here we go. And picture, visualize, okay? So see the information. I see you. See the information, okay? Very important, all right? So here we go, everyone. German and English share a common ancestral language known today as Proto-Germanic, which was spoken by Western European peoples thousands of years ago. Just as people who share a common ancestor are related, languages that share a common ancestor are also related. English and German are sibling languages. They are each descended from Proto-Germanic and therefore also share a number of linguistic features. However, the languages have also diverged significantly over the centuries, and today they have many notable differences in addition to their ancestral similarities. Okay, as soon as I finish a paragraph, what is this paragraph about? The answer, English and German common ancestry and modern differences. Okay? All right, that's what it's about. So anytime I finish a paragraph in my head, I'm always asking, what is it about? And giving a simple, concise answer, like this one here. Okay? So I do that for every single paragraph. And in the IELTS, I do that in my head. All right? And you're going to see why. Keep reading with me. To understand the similarities and differences of the two languages, a historical background is necessary. Old English, which was spoken from approximately 450 to 1150 CE, was very close to the Germanic or the German language of the period. But the Norman conquest of Britain in 1066 led to many linguistic changes. This is because the Normans were a French-speaking people, so they brought many French words into the English language. And because French is a language that comes from Latin, many Latin words also came into the English language. In English, for example, the word cow comes from the Proto-Germanic word ku, while the food obtained from cows, known in English as beef, comes from the French word boeuf. This Germanic-French distinction is also the reason why pig meat is called pork, sheep meat is called mutton, and deer meat is known as venison. Each of the animal names is of Germanic origin, while the food term comes from French. One exception is the English word fish, which refers to both the animal and the food. This could be due to the French word for fish, poisson, being very similar to the English word poison, the name for a substance which can sicken or even kill. All right, so again, I ask myself, what is this paragraph about? Okay, so the answer here is the historical dates for the evolution of English and examples with food. Okay, so that's what this paragraph is about. And I go on to the next one, nice and fast, everyone. Here we go. And if you read at this speed for the IELTS, it's absolutely okay. You don't have to read faster, okay? And you're reading in your head, right? Even with the French influence, however, 80 of the 100 most common words in English are Germanic in origin. For example, the phrase I have is ich habe. The phrase it is long is echt ich lang. And the phrase where is that, who is das? All of these words are clearly related. Other words are identical, although sometimes with different pronunciations. For example, the words baby, doctor, energy, machine, object, original, and school are virtually identical in either spelling, pronunciation, or both. Okay, what is this paragraph about? The permanence of German in the English language, right? So even though there was this French influence, still English is mostly a German-rooted language. So the most common phrases, words are all of German influence, right? Okay, let's keep reading. One of the key differences between German and English is in the structuring of sentences. While both English and German have certain rules for word order, these rules are very different. For example, in German, the conjugated verb is always second in the sentence. Often travel I. English has no such requirement. Verbs can go first, running through the woods. Second, I run through the woods. Or last, through the woods I run. However, German sentence word order is also freer in certain ways. Interestingly, this aspect of German is often compared to Shakespearean English. This is not a coincidence. In Shakespeare's time, around the year 1600 CE, English was still transitioning from Middle English to Modern English. Word order reflected the language's Germanic heritage. Today, this connection has faded, and Shakespeare's words, which are taught to school-aged children across the English-speaking world, seem almost foreign. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? By the way, members and everyone, do this with me and try to see if your answers are the same or similar as mine. They should be, okay? So what is this paragraph about? Well, when we're talking about word order, we're talking about grammar. So it's about the grammatical differences between English and German with an example of Shakespeare. Something like that, Shakespeare. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Here we go. One notable difference between the languages is that all nouns in German are capitalized, while only proper nouns are capitalized in English, names and places primarily. In this sense, German is simpler, but German also has more cases than English. For example, German words can have 3 genders: masculine, feminine, and neuter. In general, English does not have these. While there are some words such as bachelor and bachelorette which denote gender, almost every English noun belongs to neuter, non-gendered class of words. This is particularly notable since the 2 ancestral languages of modern English, German and French, both observe gender when naming nouns. This is an example of English evolving past both languages. While the influence of each language on English is marked, English has also had centuries of its own development, and one of its changes has involved losing its cases, such as gendered nouns. For English learners, this makes mastering the language easier. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? It is about the way English has evolved past German and French with differences in cases, so no gender nouns, and capitalization. Okay, so that's how that's happened. All right, let's keep going. Another aspect of English, however, is very difficult. Unlike German, which is mostly a phonetic language, meaning that letters directly correspond to sounds, English is often hopelessly non-phonetic. Take the pair of words paid and said. By their appearance, these words should rhyme. Unfortunately, they're not even close. German, conversely, is much closer to the one-to-one correspondence between letters and sounds which many English learners are accustomed to. English learners must instead learn an extraordinary number of exceptions, which greatly complicates the language learning process. So, what is this about? Answer, German is phonetic versus English is non-phonetic, so differences in pronunciation, okay? All right, one more paragraph. Here we go, everyone. German and English are like distant cousins. They share an ancestor and share many similarities, but they also have many differences. French influence on English in the 11th century and onward transformed the language, and the years since have only widened the gap between German and English. Yet they also maintain a number of similarities, and after diverging millennia ago, there's still no major language closer to English than German. All right, conclusion. What is this about? It is about the way English has changed from German over 1,000 years, but still remains its closest sibling language. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got a lot of clarity. Now we can answer these questions, and you're going to do this instead of me, okay? All right, so here we go, members and viewers, all right? Let's do this together. So number 27, the development of English beyond its language antecedents. And I think this paraphrase was really helpful here, the evolution of English past its language roots. Now, you should be able to get this because we did this, what is this paragraph about, answering the question. And even if I don't remember exactly which paragraph, I have a pretty good idea of where it came from. What do you think? Okay, so what do you think? Punchum says that was fascinating to know and very valuable when you're learning English, right? So I think if, you know, I were teaching English to some lower intermediate level students in school, I'd probably teach them about this very early, right? Arda says B or C. Okay. I don't think so, Arda. You had to visualize this. Harsh, Fazil, what do you think? Everybody who's watching, what paragraph did this come from? Think about it this way. Was it in the first third, the middle, or the last third? Okay. Was it in the first third, the middle, or the last third? Ask yourself that when you're doing this. Okay. So was this in the first 1/3, the second 1/3, or second third, sorry, or the last third of this passage? So that's how you have to think about it, and then it's easier to track down. I remember this was actually, I'll give you a little help here. It was about the cases, right? The he, she, it difference. Okay, so what was the answer here? Anybody? Let's see. Harwinder says middle. I think it was like middle or the end, okay? It was about the cases, the he and she, okay? Here you go. So what is this paragraph about? It's about the way English evolved past German and French with differences in cases, right? The he and the she. So this is from paragraph E, okay? And here's the answer to this sentence. This is an example of English evolving past both languages. And notice how we don't have any of those words, so you really can't skim or scan for this. And if you were trying skimming or scanning, you would have had to get all the way to paragraph E to even get the chance to answer this correctly. So here, the answer is paragraph E, okay? All right. So paragraph E is the correct answer. In this case, does everybody get that? So this is an example of English evolving past both languages. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one, 28. An example of English literature being similar to German in the past. Number 28. If we're paying attention to English literature here, we can figure this out. Okay, what is it? So what's the answer to this one? An example of English literature. What am I looking for here? Okay. All right. What am I looking for here? So an example of English literature being similar to German in the past. Okay. What am I looking for? That should be an easy one as well. Very good, Harwinder. So Harwinder says it's Shakespeare. Pancham agrees. It's the part with Shakespeare. And I kind of know that was near the end as well, right? Okay. So that was somewhere, well, here we go, in the middle, actually. So it was more close in the middle. Here's Shakespeare, right? So again, I know that it was somewhere middle end, not in the first third, so it's easier to find. So this one here is D, right? So in Shakespeare's time, and that's the literature, okay? So the answer for this one is D. Students, when you're doing a good job in IELTS reading, it shouldn't take you a really long time to answer these, okay? Number 29, a key linguistic distinction in the naming of certain foods. Okay, I think that came before D, so that was about when you're talking about beef and fish and such. So let's look just before D. Okay. So that's C, it's not good, okay, but just before C, I can now see the historical dates, evolution of English, example with foods, right? So here I have venison, pig meat is called pork. So this is paragraph B, okay, B. So here the correct answer for 29 is B. Okay. Difficulties in English pronunciation. I know that that one is about phonetics. So this is what happens when you understand the passage, right? So you might do a search for pronunciation. You might find it, but we're actually looking for phonetics here. I remember that was kind of somewhere near the end, and here it is. So German is phonetic. English is non-phonetic. So the answer there is F. All right. Okay, so correct answers E, D, B, and F. All right. Reading the passage should take you about 10 to 12 minutes. You should understand about 70 to 80%, and then answering each question on average should only take you about 30 to 40 seconds maximum. Okay, let's complete this paragraph here. Here we go. So two languages split in two by another. So here we have a title. Okay, when you have a paragraph like this, you really want to pay attention to the title. This here says two languages split in two by another. What's the language that's splitting them apart? Okay, so Pancham, Jainil, Harwinder, what's the language that's splitting apart German and English here? And hopefully all of you come up with the word French. Yeah, that's right. Very good. Okay. Good job, Pancham. Yeah, it was French, right? So here I want to focus on this concept. English and German being split further apart by French, okay, from 1066. All right, here we go. So German and English have a common ancestor known as Proto-Germanic. This language was spoken by people in Europe thousands of years ago. Because of this, English and German are considered something languages. What's the correct word here? Don't look at the choices. Think about the correct word, okay? So what's the correct word? So German and English are considered something languages. What kind of languages are they considered? And you should have pictured this. You should have caught this word. It was very clear. It was at the beginning. Welcome, Mr. Rahul Preet, to our group of members. Good to have you on board. Sibling, that's right, Janil. So here I have sibling, right? For 31. Sibling languages. Okay, and so sibling languages, now I can look for this. Let's see, first, calcified, sister, anywhere, fish, pronunciation, few, transformed, spelling, significant. Which one is the closest here to sibling out of these choices? That's right, Hasna. It's E, because your sister is your sibling. So here, don't put the word sibling, okay, put the letter E. So the trick for this kind of summary completion is think about the answer and then find the closest match, okay? So, however, there are also something differences between the two languages despite their common heritage. There are also what differences? Okay, what would you write here? So there are also what kind of differences? Yeah, and everybody got sister, which is great. So what kind of languages? See, Jabroni's having a little chuckle there. Jabroni says significant differences. Yeah, or I would say important differences or key differences, any one of those, right? So phonetic differences is possible as well. Significant differences is good because there's more than just phonetic, so there's grammatical, there's word differences, so there's some important differences, right? And again, I look at this, first, calcified, sister, anywhere, fish, pronunciation, few, transformed, spelling, and significant. Now, when you have a word match like we have right now, then you know that's got to be the right answer, okay? So the answer here would be J. Okay, significant differences. And here it's E. Okay, so we've got a few more here. We've got question 33, 34, 35, and 36. I'll let you have those ones for homework, and I'll jump to the true, false, not given. Okay, we'll take a look at true, false, not given for just one question as well. Okay. So here you have to say it's true or T if it matches with the information in the passage, F or false if it doesn't, and NG or not given if we don't know based on the passage, okay? And this is how we do this. So rules concerning capitalization differentiate German from English. Okay, so here, is this important? Is it important to talk about capitalization differences in German and English writing? Okay. Yeah, okay, I would definitely say that that's important. All right, so yes, it's given. All right, and then I would ask another question. Is it true? Okay. And the answer is yes. Therefore, the answer to this question is true, or T. Okay? Because I remember that the passage talks about capitalization differences here. Remember this paragraph, paragraph E? It says one notable difference is that all nouns in German are capitalized. So you put a capital for every noun in German. But in English, you only do it for names and places, right? Okay, so that's the answer there. So for true, false, not given, I want to figure out first if it's important. If it's important, then it's given. Okay, if it's not important, it's most likely not given. All right. Here we go, number 38. Try this one. English, for the most part, lost the case system of its past. Is it important? Yeah, and I see many of you got true there, okay, for the last one. So English, let's do number 38 together, members. English has, for the most part, lost the case system. Case system means that we have like a boy, girl, and it difference for the nouns. So in French, you hear like the le and the la for girl, boy difference or boy, girl difference. German has something similar as well. English, so is it important to know this? Arda says it's important. Baccarat agrees. Yeah, absolutely. So it's given. Okay, so English has, for the most part, lost the case system. That would be very important for the English language. So it's given. And is it true? So does English have these gender markers for words? So do we say like le car or la video? Okay. Or we don't say it. Okay. Jabroni says it's true. English doesn't have that. It's not like German or French. And you're right, Jabroni. So it's important, it's given, and we know that it's true. English doesn't have that. So true. Okay. All right, I'll leave 39 and 40 to you. Okay, everyone? So again, here are the last few questions for this summary completion, 33 to 36. Here are the words that you have to choose in the letters, okay? And then here are the last two, true, false, not given. Try these ones on your own, okay? So do this on your own for homework. So homework time, okay? So summary completion, 33 to 36. And true, false, not given, 39 and 40. Okay. Send me the answers to Adrian at aehelp.com and I will send you back the answer key. Okay. So try those ones on your own. You can see this video again on the channel. You can fast forward to the parts where you have the questions and the reading, okay? So try those, send me your answers, and then I'll give you the answer key. And again, pay attention to these strategies. If it was a bit fast, then don't worry about it. You can review the video after. HGGG, paraphrasing is very important in task 1. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that question. Okay. All right, so that's it for this lesson, everyone, but worry not, we have speaking part 2 coming up in less than 30 minutes, so about half an hour from now, I will be back with speaking part 1, speaking part 2, I should say, the cue card, and we're going to do a practice answer, band 9, to the cue card, okay? So make sure to hang out. And everybody, remember, it's still Black Friday discounts. It's the last day. Use the code BLKFDAY on our websites. Our websites look like this. This is our general IELTS website here. GIELTShelp.com. Click that big red button to join our premium package. And for the academic IELTS, it is aehelp.com, and you can click this big red button to get your My Student account with all of your goodies for getting ready for the exam. Okay, so lots of help for you there. Use the discount code BLKFD. It's just right above my head there. You can see it in the red. 40% off. That's it for now. I will be back, students, again in just under 30 minutes with speaking part 2 cue card. So take a break, stretch your legs, drink some water. I'm going to do the same, and then I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you, members.